captains at a party. Pretoria answered the call, like it gone to sleep. Adam Godwin stand tall. In the harbor of Durban, the seal ships ride. The ANC plays a game of seek and hide. They call for the exercise in like the east wind, and point a paging and say they're the ones who sin. So I was on the list, I guess at the gate. Now they say who invited them, it must have been fake. Confusion in the Union building, shadows on the wall. Now the truth gets buried in the marble hall. Who is running the land? Tell me, who's in command? Is it the suit in the office or the gun in there? Oh, that from the Congo mud to the Pretoria street, the drums of the rock start to skip a beat. No boots for the boys, no armor for the chest, but millions for the general to go take a rest. And she speaks of an inquiry, a court to be won, but the days turn to weeks and the paper is torn. No answers coming down as the heavy silence, while the heroes in the bush face no rebel violence. Sent to the jungle with no wings in the sky, only 3 helicopters, how can they fly? No medevac coming when they let us to rain. Chased by the rebels, oh the pride and the pain. No uniform, no boot, no boots, oh wait, look at the budget for the big salute. P7, 2 million for retirement spree. Modern Navy is sinking beneath the sea. Not a submarine moving, not a sailor in sight, but the body lights are burning to the Pretoria night. The chief of defense, he's a law to himself. Kept commander of the Navy, puts the stay on the self. Defying the podium, ignoring the sir, while the ghost of the fly starts to wake and to stir. And what's this whisper? What's this dark news? The chairman charged with murder, and he's the one they choose. Promoted to the top, while the dockets go forward. Is this the new story that's being told? Who is running the land? Tell me, who's in command? Is it Siren? Is it Langy? Does Ronnie understand? Oh, from the pound Hobart to the Pretoria street, the drums of the ropes are to skip a beat. No boost for the boys, no armor for the chest, but million for the tenor on the moat. The rest, the generals are dancing, the politicians are glancing, the money is vanishing, and the soldiers are wandering. Who's the boss? Siren. Who's the boss? Anki. The military's gone rogue in the sun. The parade has only just begun.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello folks, welcome back to the program. It's Chris live in central Pennsylvania on yet another Friends and Family Only Friday. F around and find out. Trump administration putting a spanner in the works today for South African refugee hopefuls coming to the United States. Flights have been paused. All departures from South Africa have been paused, effective, I believe, on the 23rd of January. And that is for a temporary period which has not been identified. I've just done a short on this video. Thank you all for your patience. I had to get something out there very quickly, so I was busy putting the short out, and I'm sharing it right now on social media. It is, in fact, a true story, and I can confirm that it is happening. The reason for it is unclear. I have given a plausible reason what might be affecting it, and that's specifically that the strike on Iran, it may be just hours away. If, in fact, that's the case, it could impact this. So I'm not saying that's the reason. Yeah, I'm just saying that... Oh yeah, now I've actually got a message from somebody. Okay. So people send me messages. It's not helpful if you send me a message and I cannot see who the sender is. Give me screenshots is not really helpful unless I have that information, folks. So I need that information in order to share things. I don't run on rumor and innuendo here. I rely on reliable information and my analytical ability to predict and to tell you what's going on, analyze it. But when people just send me things that are half information, I don't run on that. That's one reason why I refused to address this during the interview. Plus, it was rude to interrupt the interview, people being attention seeking. So yeah, that's the situation as of right now that we know. And I'll talk about that more as I get information, hopefully from DC, as to what's actually happening here. This is what's going on here. Yep. So someone else sent that to me. Yep. So yeah, I can read the message that's going around now. Now, I don't know where this is coming from, if it's USCIS or not, and that's why I don't know the provenance of it. But I will read it because lots of people are sharing it now. Dear applicant, we're contacting you to inform you that all refugee travel scheduled from February 23rd to March 9th will unfortunately be canceled due to operational factors. This affects your travel in the United States, originally scheduled for 24 February. You understand that this delay in travel may be difficult for you. Refugees whose travel is canceled will be rebooked to travel in the near future. RSC Africa will be in touch as soon as possible to share new travel dates with you. Please note that the delay in travel does not affect the benefits that are received by refugees in the United States. It also doesn't affect your status. All right. What story did you hear about Iran, Anna? What story did you hear? See, I appreciate you sharing that, but that's not helpful. What story? That really doesn't help me. So Professor G responded to my video when I did the thing when I did the play acting. He said he laughed too hard watching it. At one point, the accent turned a little Cajun. It's true. I worried about this from the beginning with many leftists work in this field. Yep. Yeah. Problem is, we make a video like this and help people acknowledge their problems and speed bumps. Not easy free ride. Yep. Yep. Anyway, so yeah, folks, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate those of you showing up now. Your patience on a Friday. As I said, it's a friends and only family Friday. Yeah. Did somebody say something happened to Ronaldo's stream? Did it get stopped or something? I didn't see that. Anyone want to share that with me? Did you see something? I wasn't watching Ronaldo. Ronaldo sent me a message earlier, but that's unrelated to his stream. Wow. Okay. Well, cool. Okay, so I'm just trying to get this out still. Sorry, folks. One-man operation, and things don't cooperate as much as they'd like to. Yeah, it's definitely Freaky Friday. Sorry, I got to clear my throat again. What's going on there? Right. Just making sure I've got all the... Well, there's one I missed, okay. See, these groups, because people write, and then they get... I wish I could just put my designated groups at the top, so they always are at the top of my list, so I don't have to go hunting for things. All right, cool. That takes care of WhatsApp. Now I got to go to Telegram and do the same thing. So thank you for your patience. I'm sharing this in the refugee groups right now. Contacted me via email. We are part of some people who license counseling with just some info. Okay, well, thank you for that. Appreciate that. That's kind of you to share it. I'll try to get to it as soon as possible. I have a 2:30 teleconference with a media house that wants to promote my content. Let's see if they want to promote my content or if they're expecting me to pay them to do that. I don't know what the case is, so sometimes you get that. So I'll wait and see. But that's 2:30, and then 3:10 I'll be watching hockey, so you won't be able to distract me from that. USA is playing in the semifinal against Slovakia. They need to win that game to guarantee a medal. If they win the game today, then they will have a silver or gold medal for sure. Canada, I don't know what's happening now. Let me take a look in on that. Canada was losing 2-1. Let's see what the score is now as they come out for I don't know which period. We should be in third period here. It just went to commercial break, of course. So Canada was losing 2-1 to Finland, and that's exciting. It would be so cool to go to the gold medal game and beat Finland just like we did. It's 2-1, start of the third period. Yep. The Finns have got to hold on here and defeat Canada. They're the fourth-ranked team, fourth-seeded team, and they're beating the Canadians. And while I'd very much love this, there's Peter DeBoer, I'd love to see the U.S. beat Canada in the gold medal game. I'm fine with seeing the Finns there because I'm a huge Finland fan. Yep. We used to have Lori Lettinen, who tuned in for this program quite a bit, and they're about to get started. The Canadians, you never count them out. They're among the world's best, and we'll see what happens in this. But this game is just starting the third period, and the first face-off is won by the Finns, and they send it down the ice. Right. So just a second here. We'll get into the news I've got. I'm doing housekeeping here, folks. Adrian Basson is talking about Peter Dutoit. Ronaldo had a press ombudsman that said that Ronaldo was spreading misinformation. So I will be putting a video together about News 24, and it's same thing. I've got that story about Ronaldo. We're going to talk about that. Hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I got it all in there, so I've got them all spread. So the press ombudsman ruled against Ronaldo, and what they allow Peter Dutoit to say is defamatory. And in American court, I suspect that they would be found guilty of defamation of character, but not in South Africa. The press ombudsman actually is defaming Ronaldo Guz with a ludicrous judgment. It shows you they're also captured. So, yeah, yes, flights are paused. You're not paying attention to Mark Mendez? What have I just spent the last 10 minutes talking about? Flights being paused. Finland on the attack. Nearly gets it in. Oh, Trump is having press conference. Let's get to that then very quickly. Hang on. Okay, thank you for that. That'll preempt the news. Let's go to White House. Let's see if he's up here already. All right. Come on, faster, damn it. It doesn't come up. Damn it. 148 people watching Lily now. White House press conference live. Let's see. No, there's nothing here. White House. It says begins shortly. There's nothing there. Where is he having a press conference? There's no Trump press conference. There's no Trump. Well, oh, it's about the tariffs. Okay. But he's not actually live yet. No, he's not live. He's not live. They're on a commercial break, so he's going to go live. Okay. Reitza Manel says, stunning day in South Carolina. Okay, I guess that's your way of telling us you're over here. Yeah, I know, Pulser. You told us about that, Supreme Court. But that's all attempts. So hang on. What do you say? Let's get. All right. See how we're getting preempted by news here. Okay. Supreme Court strikes down tariffs. Test executive branch powers. Supreme Court has overstepped its bounds. Let's lead with that story, and we'll get to South African news after that. Let's read what these news reports have to say, and we'll go from there. All right. Yes, interviews are still continuing, Mariki. That hasn't affected, to my knowledge. Okay? Okay. All right. What is this? Did somebody say? Hang on a second. That was rude. What is going on here? All right. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Steve Ramsey said what on the news, Anna? Okay, thank you, Alan. Make sure you do the at my account so I know. All right, let's talk about the tariffs. And he's going to lambaste the Supreme Court, and rightly so. In a rare rebuke of Trump, Supreme Court strikes down tariffs. Supreme Court Friday struck down most of President Trump's sweeping tariffs, a ruling that deals a major blow to his signature economic policy, represents a stinging political setback. In a 6-3 decision, Justice ruled the president does not have the authority under 77 Emergency Economic Powers Law to impose import levies on goods from nearly all the nation's trading partners. Decision expected to reverberate widely, affecting global trade, consumers, companies, inflation, and pocketbooks of every American. Well, yeah, so they find that tariffs are a tax, rejecting Scott Bessent's claim. Supreme Court rule explicitly rejected the argument. The majority decision written by Chief Justice John Roberts quoted the court's 1824 ruling in Gibbons versus Ogden, which concluded that Congress alone could regulate interstate commerce. This isn't interstate commerce. This is international commerce. The power to impose tariffs is very clearly a branch of the taxing power the court held in Gibbons. Under the Constitution, only Congress can enact taxes. In fact, the first time the Congress exercised its power to tax was with the law establishing the tariff. Well, this is a problem. This is a problem. It's a national security tool, and Trump has other weapons at his disposal. We'll see what he has to say. Supreme Court blocks Trump tariffs in a major test executive power. Supreme Court today blocked President Trump's use of emergency law to unilaterally impose sweeping tariffs on most U.S. trading partners, delivering a blow to the president in a case centered on one of his signature economic policies. In a 6-3 decision, Justice invalidated Trump's tariffs. Justice Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Brett Kavanaugh dissented. The only real justices on the court. Those other ones are clowns. The framers, including Amy Barrett Cohen. The framers gave that power to Congress alone, notwithstanding the obvious foreign affairs implications of tariffs. Well, then, what do you mean notwithstanding? That's the piece that matters here, Chief Justice John Dipshit Roberts. And whatever may be said of the other powers that implicate foreign affairs, we would not expect Congress to relinquish its tariff power through vague language. But they did. Congress relinquished that power with a law in 1977. Read the law. Is the law unconstitutional? You're not making that argument. Roberts noted that Trump used two words that were separated by 16 others in the International Economic Emergency Powers Act: regulate importation, justify that he had independent power to impose tariffs on imports from any country, any product, any time, and any amount. These words cannot bear such weight. Really? They can't? Supreme Court heard oral arguments in November in the case which centered on Trump's use of the IEEPA to enact his Liberation Day tariffs on most countries, including a 10% global tariff, and set a higher so-called reciprocal tariff on certain nations. In April, Trump declared the U.S. trade deficit a national emergency, and lawyers for the administration have cited that declaration as legal basis, which allows the president to respond to unusual and extraordinary threats when a national emergency has been declared. High Court agreed to take up the case last fall after lower courts blocked Trump's attempt. Lower courts pressed the Justice Department to explain why Trump invoked it when more narrowly tailored statutes enacted by Congress address tariffs, including laws that cap tariffs to certain levels or set timeframes subject to congressional review. During oral arguments, Justice pressed Solicitor General John Sauer, who argued on behalf of the government, on whether the tariffs apply or taxation of powers and any guardrails, what would limit the executive branch. Well, Justice, including Trump's conservative appointees, appeared skeptical, pressing Sauer on whether there has ever been another instance in which a statute used that language to confer the power. Other conservative justices questioned whether an economic equivalent to tariffs, such as sanctions, embargoes, licenses, quotas, could be used by the president under the law. Justice Brett Kavanaugh raised in a fiery dissent what he said should be serious practical consequence of the court's decision in terms of refunding illegitimately imposed tariffs. The majority did not address refunds, an issue that now likely will be raised in lower courts. This is a shit show. The Supreme Court is capturing. Yeah, so it doesn't prevent other countries from applying 90% tariffs in the United States, and the president has no power to retaliate while Congress sits around and does nothing. What the hell? This is ridiculous. Yep. No, it doesn't block any country from punishing us. South Africa has, 70% tariffs on our poultry at one point, and we couldn't retaliate, according to this. Congress is not going to flip. What fantasy world are you living in? Not going to happen. Yes, winners do not complain. Trump will use an alternative legal framework. Exactly. That's what I said. Yep. Sounded like a bird was here. It was the air escaping from that. That's most probably the reason. No, it has nothing to do with refugee camp. It should take no. This was already announced before this decision came out. Yeah, it's an ever-trumpers. Can't be too big a thing. The dollar's steady. Courts override president's war. What the hell he's called the president? Well, yeah, Meerkat, but the court exists to ensure that the executive and the legislative branch don't overreach. But the legislative branch passed a law which has been in effect for nearly 50 years, 40 plus years, since 1977. And they've never questioned the law before. Now it's being questioned. And so they do have a right. What happens to trade deals? Well, the trade deals stay. The trade deal stays. The president has the power to negotiate foreign deals, so that doesn't affect that. See that. Let's be clear about that. Those countries have already formed a deal with the president. See, that's what's being ignored here. The trade deals are foreign policy, and it's a deal. The president agreed to that, so yeah. They're clearing airspace. South African flights cross right through military paths. Too much air traffic, too dangerous. Military needs operational security. Well, some South African flights do over Africa, so. Yep. So, yeah, that may be what's going on. We'll see with the, let me see. Yeah. So, what is somebody, I'm just going back to the chat. Somebody said, will the interviews continue? Yes, Mariki, I think I answered already. They will continue. Yep. They will continue. The pause is on travel, not on processing. You didn't miss too much, Karen. We got started late. Yeah. Well, the beginning just started a short while ago. Early polling congressional races. Things could change. Yes, they could, Polster. That's what I'm saying. It's too early to make that prediction. A lot's going to happen between now and then. Things could get worse for Trump and the Republicans. They could get demonstrably better. The economy is growing, although reports today are it was less than expected, but still growing robustly, and I'll talk about that. So Trump has been ruled against in the courts. That's disappointing to say the very least. Let's check in on the Finland game. Still 2-1 with 11:52 in the third period. The Finns have got to hang on here, but of course the Canadians will do like the Americans at some point in the game last night. They will. That's going to be icing. No, it's not. They will pull their goalie and then get 6 skaters on the ice. So the Finns have got to get another goal here to make this game a lock. The Canadians are on the attack. Shot to the post. The goalie drops it. And now it goes to center ice. Oh, Finland on the attack. All alone, one player. He takes a shot. Wide. Finns keep it in the zone. Boy, they are tenacious here. Wow. The Canadians losing, then they can't blame the Americans if they get beat. Finland want the gold. Yes, they definitely want the gold. America beat them in 1908 Lake Placid for the gold medal game. Yep. And I love the Finns jerseys. I was going to buy one, but they're so expensive. Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah, Hakeem Jeffries, isn't it? Another big save by Finland. The Canadians are attacking left and right here, but the Finns keep defense. Another save. 3 saves here in the last couple moments. Canada has 28 shots on goal. Finland just 13. That's going to be icing for sure. Mark Stone, Vegas Golden Knights, goes down ice to pick it up. Yep. Yeah, the Finns are serious. Mostly a Canadian crowd in the stands there. Not so many Finnish fans, even though it's closer to Finland. Canadians have the money. All right, let's get to the rest of the news. Crime stats out in South Africa. Police Minister Kachala releases quarterly crime statistics. And I don't know what they were because it was a live stream and I didn't catch it. Ramaphosa is defending black economic enrichment amid GNU challenges. President Ramaphosa yesterday took aim at some partners in the government national unity, saying the government was committed to redressing the injustice of the past. Now they're committed to impoverishing people in the present. Speaking during his reply to the State of the Nation address, he said they could not redress without transforming the economy. Well, you are transforming it into a third world failed state. So there you go. Yes, the Finns and Canadians are in ice hockey right now. Well, the Western Cape was the original title for this stream, and then we've interrupted the first 15 or 20 minutes here with stories about the refugee situation and Trump's tariffs. But let's get back to what the title originally was for this live stream. The Western Cape's Premier Alan Winde is upstaging John Steenhuisen, my white Minister of Agriculture, in case you don't know who he is, the white Minister of Agriculture, being upstaged by the Western Cape. While the government at the national level says they've secured 12,000 doses and vaccinated 12,000 cattle, the Western Cape just started like 2 days ago, and they already have 15,000 vaccines rolled out. Wow. A cow has been vaccinated against foot and mouth disease on average every minute over the last week in the Western Cape. The province has administered 15,000 vaccines since 20,000 were received last Thursday. The national government can't pull this off yet. The Western Cape pulls this off. Boy, the Democratic Alliance, yep, can confirm. Call today and interview early next week. There you go. Okay. Thank you for the segment. Loaded with keeping their money to chase the sun in the summer. Yeah, criminal stats won't be trustworthy. The first thing I thought of when the pause on the flights came through this morning is Colonel Wyatt will let us know why we only trust. So, well, S. Murray, that's because I don't jump to rumor and innuendo. I check it out myself as best I can. Sometimes you don't have all the information. What do you mean, what just happened, Chisiki? That doesn't really help me. What do you mean, what just happened? When? Just now on the stream? Globally? Greetings from Amazon Toady, Joe Furry. Welcome to you. It's just you. It's just you. We're live streaming. Yep, it's just you. It's just your feed. Sorry. Right. It's a break in the action for the Finland game. So 15,000 cattle already immunized in the Western Cape. The government is embarrassed. Have you met my white Minister of Agriculture who can't administer vaccines? In an update on how the outbreak is affecting the province, Premier Alan Winde said the remaining vaccines have been kept in reserve in case emergency stock is needed. The province expects to receive another 30,000 over the weekend when the country takes delivery of 1 million doses from Argentina. Another shipment of 1.5 million vaccines expected a week after the province will receive 30,000. Yes, the Western Cape Government Director of Animal Health, Dr. Noluvuyo Magala, said the province needs 480,000 vaccines to give their first dose. All cattle. Well, there you go. There you go, folks. Interesting. Western Cape embarrassing the national government. Yep. Yeah, Alan Winde and the Western Cape are embarrassing our white Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen. Well, we'd rather die than go home, say university protesters. This is comical. Yep. Wits student protest against financial exclusion. Scores of Wits University students took to the streets of Parktown and Braamfontein on Friday, blocking their main entrance to campus in protest against financial exclusion and demanding suspensions of 14 students be lifted. The South African Students' Congress gathered students in the early hours Friday and blocked Yale Road North entrance on Empire Road to have their demands met. So they're criminals. SASCO member Zwelamangile Volsaka told Times Live many students have been unable to register due to their outstanding debt. Volsaka said the university provides $55,000 hardship fund to indebted students who can only register once half their debt is paid. Some students owe more than $100,000. This includes historic debt, so that means the fund cannot help them as they will still have outstanding fees. They cannot register even though the academic year started a month ago. University wants students to pay 50% of their debt. Our conscience will not allow other black students to suffer, all in the name of you having outstanding debts. So you're useless fucking turds who want handouts. You're useless fucking turds who want handouts. Oh, that's what it's all about. Because you're black. Because you're black, you get free handouts. Hey, dipshit, pay for your university education like the rest of us. Wow. Volsaka said accommodation fees at the university were high. Well, that's because it costs money, dumbass. The cheapest accommodation available to maximum 300 students is $55,000 per annum. 55,000 Rand per year. 55,000 Rand per year. $3,225. That is a little pricey, to be fair, for university housing. But not in 2026. In 1982, it was pricey. Not today. Yeah, everything's free because they're black. Because they're black. It's free. They're free. Oh, I got the alert box off. Sorry about that. Thank you for your membership being upgraded, Elvie. Appreciate that. Sorry, I missed that. Christian Ehlers, welcome to you. Okay, all right, let me go find that. President's going to go live. YouTube. White House live. Let's see if they're ready yet. White House. They still haven't gone live. Let me know when it goes live because they haven't gone live yet. I'll have to refresh this page. Oh, they're still not there. Thank you, Debbie Ackerman, for following. Oh, that's over on... Oh, yeah, if you guys follow me on Facebook, in case you don't know, I've got a Facebook account. I'm starting to use it again. I've ignored it for a long time. Thank you, Erica Olivia, for the 35 Rand Super Chat. Couldn't go to university because couldn't afford it, even when I pay back a student loan within a year. How do you repay a loan when studying full-time? You can't. You're not supposed to pay back a loan when you're in school. You get a grace period. That's how real countries do things. Yeah. No, people should pay their own way through university. No one's entitled to university. It's a rare thing that less than 1% of the population of the planet. Has someone got my Facebook there? Gosh, now we're getting all these people joining us over on Facebook. What's going on? I don't have it here. Let me find it real quick. I wasn't prepared for this because I was so busy with all this other stuff. I did a reporter interview this morning. Then I did the refugee interview, and now I'm... okay, is this the one here? Come on, get me there. There we go. Here you go. So this is the Facebook link if you guys want to join Facebook. Where the hell are we at? Go over here. Here's the Facebook link. Why does it say my audience just dropped? That doesn't make any sense. YouTube is playing games again. There's the Facebook link if you want to join my Facebook. So pin, replace the top. Put that pin at the top. Okay, there you go. All right, thank you for that. The live of Steve. Steve who? Steve Hofmeyer? What's that about? Free education, free housing, free grant money, free power, free water. Yeah, and someone else pays for it. Kathy, I'm not keen to Facebook either, but lots of people aren't finding my content, and other people putting my content on Facebook, and they're getting credit for my content. New grant being added to law. Yeah, no, they're going to modify the existing SASA grant is what they claim. We'll see what happens. Oh, the Canadians have tied it up with 7 minutes to go. They've tied it up. Finland is screwed up royally. They better get another goal here now. It's 2-2 with 7:43. The Canadians are digging themselves out of a trench here. We'll see what happens. A lot of people signing up for Facebook. That's good. I got to turn that off for a couple minutes because it's becoming distracting. Okay. Joan Stewart's leaving. Why are you going, Joan? What happened? What did we miss? What did we miss? Carl von Blair, White Army funds are used exclusively to support families stranded by delayed flights and face hardship. Thanks for making a difference. Please continue to donate if you can. The Colonel is fully updated on all funds received and distributed. Okay, Carl, thanks for the 350 Rand Super Chat. Yes, we'll do a fundraiser for that again sometime soon to refresh those funds. We had one super donor who made a big difference there. There are a lot of people now who are going to have their flights delayed here because of this government pause. So, yep. Why do people not apply? Two white friends are studying. I'm not sure why they do or don't. Coal mine sounds very interesting. Huh? Steve Ramsey. Okay. Who's Steve Ramsey? Okay, you guys are all over the place with this chat, so I can't keep up with everything. 7:17 left now, 2-2. They're probably going to go to overtime. Let's see if the Finns can pull this out. Boy, the Olympic hockey has been stunning, man. Anyway, so EFF Deputy Secretary Lobo Sabolo said they submitted a memorandum Monday pleading that students who owe less than $150,000 be allowed to register. Yeah, well, this is ridiculous. Look at this. Look at these useless turds out here. Privileged little shits. That's what they are, privileged little shits. These people are privileged little shits. There you go. And I said it. Yeah, we'd rather die in the streets of Braamfontein than be deprived of an education. You're not even getting education. The standards are abysmally low. You're not learning. You're not learning the true history of South Africa. You're not learning true science. You're not graduating with skills. Most of you graduate and you can't even be employed. So don't give me this an education. What education? Indoctrination is what it is. Wow. Yeah, I've never heard of any white students and NASFAs ever getting a single one of those. Yep. No, I've never heard any such thing. This is just bigotry and racism. Grace Mugabe rightly fears she'll be arrested because she's a scumbag who should have been in jail for assault if she returns to South Africa to support her son. Well, stay in Zimbabwe, sweetheart. Unable to travel south to do an outstanding 2018 arrest warrant. Yeah. There's an arrest warrant for her. Of course she'll be arrested. Polestar, I don't know who you are, but we've answered this question since February of last year. It depends on who takes over. We can't predict that sort of thing. The former First Lady of Zimbabwe, Grace Mugabe, is said to be in panic mode following the arrest of her dirtbag son, Bellarmine Chatunga Mugabe. Two insiders close to family Friday told News 24 that Grace is living in Singapore has been in constant communication with relatives and associates in South Africa. She's panicking. She wants to be with her son. She wants to urgently come to South Africa to attend her son's attempted murder case. Well, come on, sweetheart. Come on back to South Africa. Wouldn't that be sweet justice to arrest this turd scumbag who profited from murdering and impoverishing white Rhodesian Zimbabweans? Yep. Rousseau, I have no idea what your situation is all about. That's the first I've heard about that. First time I ever heard somebody had a ticket and their case was canceled. I said it's possible for that to happen. I've never heard that happen before. Okay, they just created it. Let's go there. Thank you for the update. Let me see. They're always slow at doing this. Nope, it's not there. I'm at the White House. There's still no... What are you talking about? There's... Let me see. Live. Oh, there it is. Got it. Got it. It's back. Yep. Okay, 368 people. Must have just happened. Got it. When he goes live, we'll be live. Let me put the sound on. Okay, cool. How does that affect those that's in transit? How does what affect people in transit? What are you talking about? Why are you asking refugee questions when I'm doing the news? Again, how many times do we have to say this? I'm just going to start deleting these things. Yeah, she lives in Singapore. Was involved. Apparently, he's the one that shot him. Mods, just start deleting the refugee questions. People are going to be considered. It's not a refugee stream. We'll go to Trump as soon as he comes up. Troops in the townships again. An op-ed piece from Paul Ash. A bad idea, as I said on Biz News last week. The news that Ron Post has ordered home the remnants of the South African military from the DRC comes as little surprise. Well, that's old news. That's old news. Underfunded, under-equipped, unloved, under-bust. There are the 4 stages of South African military grief. What is a shock, however, is the decision to deploy troops into gang-infested communities to remind us what they're going to do there. We don't have to think back too far back to how well it worked during COVID. The footage of infantrymen giving up folks to allegedly unruly citizens became one of the defining moments of lockdown, proving, if nothing else, the old cliche that if you want to make a tyrant out of someone, just give them a uniform and a truncheon or an assault rifle. Okay, you're an ass. Professional militaries don't behave like that. The White House is not going live. It's still there. That's where it's at. When it goes live, you will know, okay? People lobbing rocks at national servicemen, lobbing tear gas and firing rubber bullets from Buffalo APCs or Battalion 32, Angola, still fresh in memory, running amok in... Oh, please. Oh, my goodness. This is stupid stuff. Anyway. Oudtshoorn. The mayor unseated and voted no confidence. No confidence vote deepens the Freedom Front Plus and DA rift, puts Western Cape coalitions at risk. Tensions between the Freedom Front Plus and the Democratic Alliance have escalated in Oudtshoorn following removal of its Freedom Front Plus mayor from office. The fallout has strained relations between the two parties and put the fragile coalition in George in jeopardy. Freedom Front Plus leader Corné Mulder emphasized the party's commitment to stable coalitions, but said he was under pressure to rethink their position in George. Yep. Earlier this week, the motion no confidence in Oudtshoorn Mayor Johan Alles was passed by 11 votes to 6. That's a significant margin, folks. 11 votes to 6. Neff says I'm part of the family. Thank you for that. Yep. D abstained from the vote, allowing the motion to succeed. Follows allegations of management failures and lack of transparency in decision-making. The fallout has deepened the rift between the two parties and placed Georgia's already fragile coalition at risk. The latest upheaval follows dramatic political shifts in Oudtshoorn when the ANC and the Freedom Front Plus took control of the municipality after Freedom Front Plus collapsed its coalition agreement with the DA, the independent civic organization ICOSA and Site Kop Samstan. People signed up for the Facebook. Thank you. Now with the DA abstaining in the vote to remove the Freedom Front Plus mayor, tensions between the two parties have resurfaced. I'm under pressure to rethink our position in George. We don't take impulsive decisions. Obviously, we try to act in the best interest of communities wherever we're in coalitions. But Freedom Front Plus is not happy with what's going on here. The DA is playing silly games here, and it's not helpful. Not helpful. Finally, a conviction imprisonment for the man responsible for the carbon monoxide deaths of 2 South Africans, this lovely young lady and her fiancé. Guest house owner jailed 10 years for couple's carbon monoxide deaths in the shower. The Karidu guest house owner found guilty of the murder of 2 guests who died. Why is it murder? Why isn't it just, negligent homicide? Who died from carbon monoxide poisoning was sentenced to 10 years behind bars. Kevin Pretorius learned his fate in the Umansdorp Magistrates Court today, almost 6 years after Mari Horn, 28, and her 25-year-old fiance, John Voslu, were found dead in the shower. Just watch it short. Thank you for always jumping in and helping the crisis. It's not a lot, but I hope it helps. My prayers are with the people affected. Well, thank you, Fonz. Very kind of you. Thank you for the $10 super chat. I expect you to be doing any super chats, but thank you. All right, so the couple died in April 2020 while staying at the guest house. They were found naked and unresponsive in the bathroom. Toxicology reports confirmed they died from carbon monoxide poisoning. During the trial, the court heard the gas geyser installed in the bathroom did not have a flue pipe to channel poisonous gases outside, allowing carbon monoxide to build up inside the room. They sentenced to 10 years on each count of murder. Both sentences run concurrently, resulting in an effective 10-year jail term. The judge or magistrate said there was no clear indication that he'd shown any genuine remorse, which is very unfortunate. He didn't give a crap about the lives of these people that he cut short. The White House is still not live, folks. It hasn't happened yet. So let's see if the Canadians have gone ahead in that game. 2-2 with 3:47. Looks like they might be headed to extra time, although it's being a face-off in the Canadian sector. The Finns have the puck. They've kept it in the zone. Can they get a goal here? Goes to the wing. Oh, shot on goal! And it's in the 5-hole, but it's scooped up by the Canadian. Is it Hellebuck who's the goalie? I'm not sure. But Canada has scooped that up. Nice shot on goal by the Finns. And we're going to stop the clock with 3:39 again. Trump is eating his Big Mac. He's not eating what you think he is. He's got a Big Mac, man. All right. Cape Town will cut residential property rates despite valuation surge. For homes valued below $3 million, the median monthly rise is expected to range from 3 to 27 Rand. City of Cape Town will propose a 10.2% cut in the residential rate in the Rand following the general valuation after strong growth in property values. Wow, that's interesting. Cushion homeowners city will propose raising the rates free threshold for the first 500,000 of property's value from 450,000. For homes valued below 3 million Rand, the median monthly increase is expected to range from 3 to 27 Rand, with about 90% avoiding increases of more than 100 Rands a month. So there's a tax break coming. Interesting. A South African National Defense Force general has found himself in the dock with a lawyer over a 1.5 million bribery claim. Senior South African National Defense Force official arrested on corruption charge over an alleged 1.5 million Rand bribe has told the court his continued incarceration will prejudice him as he will not have adequate time and facilities to prepare his defense. Brigadier General Johannes Makela appears in court with his lawyer and PA Tembe Lungani. He was arrested last week by police officers from the Lunga task team set up by President Ramaphosa for allegedly attempting to bribe an investigating officer who was investigating him in a case of intimidation. His lawyer and the PA were arrested over allegations they tried to bribe the investigating officer. They appeared in the court. Should I continue to be in incarceration, I will suffer serious prejudice. I will not be able to contribute to my defense. It will become difficult, if not practically impossible, to have adequate time and facilities to prepare for my defense with my lawyers because of prison terms. No, it won't. Spend your time in jail. You can prepare for your defense. That's just a mealy-mouthed, lame excuse. 3 minutes, 8 seconds left. It's still tied 2-2 Canada. Man, that's a tight one. Description of Ronaldo Jose as malignant echo chamber is factual according to the captured press ombudsman. The press ombudsman has found the News 24 columnist and editor Peter Dutoy is linking Ronaldo Jose to normalizing disinformation spread by AfriForum CEO Khaled Kriel was factual. Jose complained about Dutoy's reference to him as malignant echo chamber actor, but the ruling stated that while it constituted sharp criticism, it was factual. So Peter Dutoy called him malignant, and that's factual. That's not factual. That's an opinion. It's also defamation of character. So he may have won by the press ombudsman, but in a court of law, Peter Dutoy may find himself subject to sanctions. Deputy Press Ombudsman Franz Kruger has found the News 24 columnist and senior editor Peter Dutoy did not breach the press code in referring to Ronaldo Jose, a political figure and podcaster, as a malignant echo chamber actor in a recent op-ed. On December 18th, News 24 published a piece by Dutoy in which he set out how disinformation was normalized, drawing on a talk by Maria Ressa, a renowned journalist and Nobel laureate from the Philippines. Close complained about an op-ed saying Dutoy's description was not factual but malicious and driven by an ulterior motive and therefore did not amount to protected comment. And I agree. The captured press ombudsman notwithstanding. Yep. Kruger dismissed these arguments, finding Dutoy's description of Hose had taken account of the facts. His dignity and reputation amounted to fair comment. No, it doesn't. Can we call Peter Dutoy a dumbass fucking retard? Can we call him that? Is that fair? I don't know that that's what he is. I'm not saying it, but I mean, if that's an opinion, why can't people say that? He can say this stuff about Ronaldo Jose, and that this press ombudsman is claiming facts, not in evidence. Using the framework set out by RESA, Dutoy examined how a public statement by AfriForum CEO Khalid Krill, in which he claimed that journalists were being paid with public money to discredit AfriForum and Solidarity Movement and to polish the image of President Ramaphosa, fell into the category of disinformation. How? How do you know that? How do you know that? You don't know that because you don't know his source. Krill's statement, accompanied by a video widely released on social media platforms, provide no evidence of the claims. He doesn't have to provide evidence of the claims. He's not suing them in court. He's simply stating information provided to him by someone with the knowledge of it. It's not disinformation. It's an opinion. Saying it was only a singular former senior journalist who had told him to do so, who had told him that information. He stated AfriForum had filed a promotion of access to information application to seek information to support the claim. Yeah. Okay. Krill's campaign of disinformation represents a reckless assault on the role of an independent free media and is an attack on one of the foundations of democracy and is deeply dishonest and a cynical ploy to undermine the press, Peter Dutoy wrote in the column. No, it's not. The behavior of News 24 is cynical, and I can run through a list of quotation marks around the term refugee, which is a legal term which applies to South Africans, to show you the News 24's disinformation of its own. They want to sit here and pretend that they're above the fray. Peter Dutoy is not above the fray. It's 2-2 with 1:22 left in game, but the Canadians are on attack inside the blue line. Here comes the puck out to the wing, swinging it back up to the top by the blue line. Canadians get in position. It's a power play, too. Oh, a shot on goal, another shot on goal. Power play with 33 seconds left. The Finns are in desperate shape here. They'll wrap the game up. They're down on the power play. The Canadians have got a chance to win this thing. The Finns have got to clear the zone. Back to the top of the blue line. They have a 5-on-4 advantage here. Selling out. And another save by the goalie. That's 3 in the last 15 seconds. Here it is at the top of the blue line again. Off to the wing. Other wing pass is missed by the Canadians. Down in 9 seconds on the power play. If they can hold on for another 7 seconds, they can escape this shot out to the front of the post. They're going to get another shot off. And they score! The Canadians will go on to the gold medal game because it went inside the post by his leg with 2 seconds left on the power play. And that's it for Finland. They're toast. 35 seconds left to game. They haven't got a snowball's chance in hell of winning this game now. The Canadians, lucky. Good. We can hopefully beat Slovakia and play them for the gold medal. Unbelievable. The Canadians score with 2 seconds left in the power play and 35 seconds left in the game. And the arena erupts in chaos. Just held on for a few more seconds.
McDavid.
Just inside the post. Connor McDavid with a shot. I mean, literally less than a millimeter of space there. It was a perfect shot. An absolutely perfect shot. It went off the pad, too. He got his pad down, but it went off the pad and deflected in. Oh, it wasn't Connor McDavid. Who was that? McKinnon who got it. My goodness. And Finland is toast. They're toast. Power play. Whoever got that penalty is going to regret how they cost their team a shot at the gold medal. Wow. That's crazy. So much for that. Well, that's disappointing. I'd hope the Finns would pull it out. My goodness. What else we got here? So he argued the complaint News 24 failed to show he'd engaged with Krill's narrative, but he did not reference his own video in which he amplified and supported Krill's version. After the content of his video was pointed out, News 24's response, Jose said it was a post-facto justification by News 24 and should not be allowed. But Kruger, referencing previous rulings, said the press code does not require every piece of evidence to be presented a piece of commentary, just that the facts be taken into account. So how can they dismiss Khalid Krill's evidence because they don't know who the source is? Now, what kind of journalistic integrity is that? You dismiss his claim because you don't have access to his source, and you're saying that's not enough evidence, but you just said you don't need evidence. The press code does not require every piece of evidence to be presented a piece of commentary. So how can you dismiss Khalid Krill's disinformation and Ronaldo's Jose comment? This is ridiculous. The reference to Jose was brief and not central to Dutoy's argument, but it was defamatory. It was defamation of character. And he, Close, is a public figure who stands to be scrutinized, while Peter du Toit is a public figure who deserves to be criticized. Under such circumstances, there's no need to produce every piece of evidence taken into account in the writing. Well, good, then let's just call Peter du Toit a bunch of stupid names and see what happens. It's enough to show the facts were considered. The facts weren't considered. You dismissed Kali Creel as disinformation because your bigotry towards AfriForum, Mr. Kruger. Let's bring you under public scrutiny, press ombudsman. You're not a press ombudsman. You're a clown. How you like them odds? Can we call you a clown? That's an opinion. We don't have to provide the facts. It's just an opinion. Wow. All right. You know, I have told people over and over again, this is not a refugee chat session. Where's this at? 107. Hasn't shown up over here yet. That's getting deleted when it comes up. So it's over for the puck is at center ice. Oh, what's going on?
Do not have an offside. You have a goal. Finland is charged with a fair challenge. Touch fire.
Oh, the Finns challenge an offside. Well, I mean, it's a desperation. The Canadians weren't offside. Yeah, coach's challenge is unsuccessfully challenged an offside. I don't know if there any basis for it. I didn't see any Canadian skaters offside. That the puck went out of the zone. I didn't see that. Good idea to challenge it, but Finland's toast, man. That's going to be it. Let's see. So the puck, did it go out of the zone? No. So, unbelievable. So, yeah. Marchand. Canadians are going to go to the gold medal game. Well, thank you, Westhouse. Appreciate that. Very kind of you. All right, last 20 seconds, and it's in the zone. Finns keep it in. Now it's out of the zone. 18 seconds. We got a penalty here. What's going on there?
3. Got to call a timeout here if you're the Finns.
Yeah, you got to call a timeout with 17 seconds left and try to get this shot in the goal. They can do it, but it's unlikely. Yeah, it's like a pinball machine. There's a chance here. I'm going to stick with this for a couple minutes here. I think I'm going to call it Finland. The player is just depressed on the bench, and rightly so. Rightly so. Very disappointing for them, no doubt. My goodness, wow. They had this thing locked up 2-1. I said, got to be careful. Got to be careful. But they weren't. Finnish fans, very disappointed. Yep. I don't blame the goalie. I blame the defense. Sebastian Aho. Heskin is over there. Yep. The Finns, man. You're welcome, Martin Potgieter. My pleasure. Christoph Havanga, how's it going, man? Thank you for the dedication, 70 Rand. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you. Let me turn the alert box back on. All those Facebook things were German. 0 comeback wins from multi-goal deficit with NHL players. So apparently they were leading 2-0 in this game. I didn't know Finland was leading 2-0 at one point. So now they're trailing 3-2 with 20. Oh, they put time back on the clock. Empty net. They got 6 skaters. Okay, I'm going to cover the last 20 seconds of this semifinal. Who goes to the goal, or will we go to extra time? Canada now leading 3-2. 39 shots on goal, 16 for Finland. 20 seconds left. They put 2.7 seconds back on the clock. 20 seconds left in this game. Empty net. 6 skaters. Here we go. Face off in the circle on the far side of the ice.
So Haston, if he gets it, he holds all the cards.
And both players jump the gun. McKinnon, the goal scorer. So they have a chance here. The Finns have a chance to tie it up late in the game. So here we go. And the puck gets... Come on, drop the puck, man. Jiminy crickets. Ball comes out. Okay, the Finns have it, but they're in a bad spot here. They get it passed around. Oh, it's out of the zone. They all got to come out now. That's going to be the game. It's going to go all the way down ice. He's only got 8 seconds left. That's the game. There's no way they can get that up the ice and get a shot off. They screwed the pooch. There it is. Oh, 1 shot left. Oh, and the last shot goes astray, and there's the game. It's over. And the Canadians win. And the Canadians win. Okay, they're going to get one more shot because the clock was stopped. What is all this people subscribing? Okay. They're going to put time back on the clock. Wow, Finland really screwed the pooch there, man. That sucks. And where's Trump at? Still waiting for Trump to get started here. I haven't heard anything with Trump. So, yeah, the zone got cleared. He had a chance, but then the clock stopped. Yeah, the whistle blew. So how much time are they going to put back on the clock? They're going to put time back on the clock, but there's just no, this is a living on a prayer here. Living on a prayer. Wendy is in Texas. Welcome.
Huge Canadian
1.3 seconds go back on the clock. There's no way, unless the Finns cleanly get the puck and they get a shot off immediately, that this is going to happen. Thank you for following the Facebook, Debbie. Appreciate that. So the Canadians are all on their feet. The Finns depressed. 1.3 seconds go back on the clock. They've had 17 shots on goal now, and they had a 2-0 lead, which they squandered. Here we go. Watch my video, Pat. That's it. Canada goes to the gold medal game. The Finns squander a 2-0 lead. That's going to burn them for a long time. Now they have to compete for the bronze medal. They have to win 1.3 seconds. It can be done, but it didn't get done. Yep. All right, back to the news, folks. Still don't hear from Trump. I don't know when this thing's going to kick off. You guys said it was going live, but still waiting. Yeah, we'll begin shortly. Still not there. All right, so where are we at here? Back to the news. Okay. All right, for some reason, somebody thinks that they need to talk about diplomatic immunity for the Mugabe squirt, but he has no diplomatic immunity. He's just a weasel. Thank you for providing us with the straight news. Thank you, Cannon. You're very welcome. My pleasure. Thank you for the $5. Yes, I have a short on it. Please check out my channel. Okay, if only Green Bay could go to those. Sorry, Red Truck. I don't care about the Packers or the NFL. Their black supremacy and their racism against America and their hatred of the American flag. I left the NFL. Colin Kaepernick ruined it. 40 years of dedication to the NFL went out the window. The diplomatic community explained what it means for Robert Mugabe. It doesn't mean anything because he's nothing. He's nothing but a little weasel turd who's got himself in a deep hole. And I hope his mother does go back to South Africa so she can be arrested for an outstanding warrant. As the legal process unfolds following the Hyde Park shooting, questions have emerged over whether Bellarmine Chatunga Mugabe could rely on diplomatic immunity to avoid prosecution. South African Police Service confirmed that the two men who were taken into custody for questioning have now been formally arrested and are expecting to appear before the Alexandra Magistrates Court on charges of attempted murder. Yep. So he has no immunity. Immunity is not inherited. He's just a weasel, scumbag, dirtbag piece of human filth, and he will get nothing. He will be prosecuted for his crimes. He has no diplomatic immunity. RSF actions in Sudan's al-Fashir point to genocide, according to UN probe. So the United Nations says that the RSF is committing genocide in Sudan. Sorry, hang on just a second here. Can you hear that? I can't hear it. Does anybody hear the ANC protesting the genocide of black people in Africa? Anybody? Anybody? Have they filed a case with the International Court of Justice against Sudan? Anybody? I don't hear anything. Do you hear the ANC? Do you hear the ANC? I don't hear the ANC. We have a genocide against black people in Africa, but the black communists in South Africa don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. No, let's just do what our paymasters in Tehran tell us to do and complain about Israel and a non-existent genocide. They're actually trying to exterminate people in al-Fashir. Wipe them all out. That's a genocide. Nobody's trying to kill all the Palestinians. There's millions of them in Jordan and all over the world. Do we hear the ANC? Can anybody? Hello, McFly. No, not a damn word. Crickets, crickets, crickets. Nothing but crickets. Wow. This is the ANC. This is the ANC. Yep, this is who they are. This is who they are. Selective outrage, selective umbrage. Yep, that's who they are. That's who they are. That is who they are. No mention of this. They've got nothing to say. Nope, nothing to say. Silence by the ANC. Wow. Mass killings of non-Arab communities. Black. when the Rapid Support Forces paramilitary group captured Sudanese city of al-Fashir bear hallmarks that point to a genocide. Independent UN probe found. But where's the ANC? Where's the ANC in al-Fashir? This took place in October. October, November, December, January, February, 5 months. But Israel responded to the torture, murder, dismemberment, rape, and death of 1,200 people by terrorists. And within weeks, the ANC had gone to the ICJ over the genocide, even though the offensive was only a few weeks old. Where is the ANC on Sudan and al-Fashir? The UN,
The rules-based order. We must follow the rules-based order. I'm sorry, I'm Ronald the Mullah, and I'm here to say that ANC follows the rules-based order.
Except it doesn't. It doesn't. The rules-based order, the UN has declared what's going on in Sudan to be a genocide. And the ANC is silent. The ANC also allows defense companies to ship combat helicopters to sanction warlords in Benghazi in violation of UN sanctions. Not US sanctions, not EU sanctions, UN sanctions, multilateral institution. Oh, and they also send South Africans to murder Ukrainians in an illegal conflict in Ukraine, fighting for the Russian forces. Shall we continue with this rules-based order bullshit? Rules-based order. Give me a frickin' break. What a clown car show. What an absolute clown car show. Unbelievable. Clown cars. That's what this is. Clown cars. Ridiculous nonsense. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, rules-based order. Rules-based order, poppycock. You don't care about a rules-based order. You don't care about rules-based order. You're just lying grifters. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line here. What else can you say? Meanwhile, the United States is actually doing something about the genocide in Sudan. We have imposed sanctions on the Rapid Support Forces. Where is the ANC? Where is the ANC? The U.S. on Thursday imposed sanctions on 3 commanders of Sudan's paramilitary rapid forces over their role in the 18-month siege and capture of al-Fashir, accusing the group of carrying out systemic and widespread killings. The Treasury Department, in a statement announcing the sanctions, accused them of perpetrating a horrific campaign of ethnic killings, torture, starvation, and sexual violence during the siege and capture of al-Fashir. Darfur's al-Fashir fell to the RSF in October after a long siege that led to mass killings. Treasury said once the city was captured in October, RSF fighters accelerated systemic, widespread killings, detention, and sexual violence, leaving no survivor, including civilians, unharmed. I'm sorry. Where is the ANC? Here's a genocide of black people, of black Africans, of our people, my brother. Ubuntu, our people. Oh, please, help us. Genocide. We're victims of colonialism. Bullshit. Bullshit. You're grifting bastards. Thieving thieves. Rules-based order my ass. Where's your rules-based order now when black Africans are being genocided? Where were you in 94 in Rwanda? Sitting on your asses. Rules-based order. What a crock. How about this one? What's that sound? Oh, it sounds like we're ready to get going with Trump.
Wow. Got a
Yep.
lot of people. That's a new record. We set a record every time. Well, thank you very much for being here. The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court.
John Roberts.
Absolutely ashamed for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom and love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there's no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way. Foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long. The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no, no matter how good a case you have. It's a no. But you can't knock their loyalty. It's one thing you can do with some of our people. Others think they're being politically correct, which has happened before far too often with certain members of this court, and it's happened so often with this court. What a shame. Having to do with voting in particular, when in fact they're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats, and not that this should have anything at all to do with it. They're very unpatriotic and disloyal to our Constitution. It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small movement. I won by millions of votes. We won in a landslide. With all the cheating that went on, there was a lot of it, but we still won in a landslide. Too big to rig. But these people are obnoxious, ignorant, and loud. They're very loud, and I think certain justices are afraid of that. They don't want to do the right thing. They're afraid of it. This was an important case to me, more as a symbol of economic national security, and also, I would say, just for our country itself, so important, because we're doing so well as a country. We've never done so well. The good news is that there are methods, practices, statutes, and authorities as recognized by the entire court in this terrible decision, and also as recognized by Congress, which they refer to, that are even stronger than the IEEPA tariffs available to me as President of the United States.
That's what I said.
And
he's got other options.
in actuality, I was very modest in my ask of other countries and businesses because I wanted to do, and it's very important, I wanted to be very well behaved because I wanted to do anything, I didn't want to do anything that would affect the decision of the court, because I understand the court. I understand how they are very easily swayed. I want to be a good boy. I have very effectively utilized tariffs over the past year to make America great again. Our stock market has just recently broken 50,000 on the Dow, and simultaneously, and even more amazingly, broken 7,000 on the S&P, two numbers that everybody thought upon our landslide election victory could not be attained. Think of that. Nobody thought it was possible to do it within 4 years, and we did it in 1 year. They said, you'll never be able, you'll go back and you read the geniuses, read their statements, all of the Nobel Prize winners in economics. They said, no, you couldn't do it in 4 years. Well, we didn't do it in 4 years. We did it in 1 year. We broke every record in the book, and we're continuing to do so. Tariffs have likewise been used to end 5 of the 8 wars that I settled. I settled 8 wars, whether you like it or not, including India, Pakistan, big ones, nuclear, could have been nuclear. Prime Minister of Pakistan said yesterday at the great meeting that we had, the Peace Board, he said yesterday that President Trump could have saved 35 million lives by getting us to stop fighting. They were getting ready to do some bad things. But they've given us great national security, these tariffs have. And together with our strong borders, reduced fentanyl coming into our country by 30%. When I use them as a penalty against countries illegally sending this poison into our country to poison our youth. All of those tariffs remain. They all remain. I don't know if you know that or not. They all remain. We're still getting them, and we will after the decision. I guess there's nobody left to appeal to. But again, those 3 people, such respect. I've had a lot of respect for them anyway, but such great respect. But other alternatives will now be used to replace the ones that the court incorrectly rejected. We have alternatives, great alternatives. Could be more money. We'll take in more money, and we'll be a lot stronger for it. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We'll continue to do so. To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little two-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them. I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that. It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision. You know, they've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us. And they're saying that I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. So think of that. I have the right to license, which is a very powerful word. In many ways, license is more powerful than tariffs. In fact, I was thinking about using it. But they came up with the idea that I can license, just like the people that were opposing me told them to do, but not the right to charge a license fee. Think of that. Who ever heard of such a thing? What license has ever been issued without the right to charge a fee? You get a license, you charge a fee. It's automatic, but not with this court. But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming into our country, to destroy foreign countries, but a much more powerful right than many people ever thought we even had, but not the right to charge a fee. How crazy is that? Our country is the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. And it was a dead country 1.5 years ago under an incompetent president. But now I'm going to go in a different direction. Probably the direction that I should have gone the first time, but I read the language. I'm very good at reading language, and it read our way 100%, but now I'll go the way I could have gone originally, which is even stronger than our original choice. As Justice Kavanaugh, whose stock has gone so up, you have to see, I'm so proud of him, wrote in his dissent, although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. So, think of that. The decision might not substantially constrain. And it doesn't, he's right. In fact, I can charge much more than I was charging. So I'm going to just start. Although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That's because numerous other federal statutes,
which I said,
authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case. Even more tariffs, actually. Those statutes include, think of that, those statutes include, for example, the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, Section 232.
The camera's at a bad angle.
I know so well. The Trade Act of 1974, Sections 122, 201, 301. And the Tariff Act of 1930, Section 338, all clear. But it's a little bit longer process. I thought I'd make things simple, but they didn't let us do that. I would like to thank Justice Kavanaugh for frankly, his genius and his great ability. Very proud of that appointment. In actuality, while I am sure that they did not mean to do so, the Supreme Court's decision today made a president's ability to both regulate trade and impose tariffs
Impossible.
more powerful and more crystal clear rather than less. I don't think they meant that. It's terrible. And to think that the Democrats who oppose this only because they want to go the opposite way. They'd like to pack the court. They want to put on 21 people. They want to pack the court, pack the Supreme Court. Maybe they should do it. Maybe they would be better off if they did it. They want to pack the court. They want to do anything to hurt our country. There will no longer be any doubt, and the income coming in and the protection of our companies and country will actually increase because of this decision. I don't think the court meant that, but it's the way it is. Based on long-standing law and hundreds of victories, and even, as I was pointed out before, even thousands of victories over the years, to the contrary, the Supreme Court did not overrule tariffs. They merely overruled a particular use of IEEPA tariffs. And essentially, it's used to get a fee. I can do anything I want with IEEPA, anything. I just can't charge anybody for it. I can license, I just can't charge them. It's ridiculous, but it's okay because we have other ways, numerous other ways. The ability to block, embargo, restrict, license, or impose any other condition on a foreign country's ability to conduct trade with the United States under IEEPA has been fully confirmed by this decision. So now there's no doubt, because, you know, there were a lot of questions about tariffs because no president was smart enough to use them to protect our country from those countries and businesses that were ripping us off. You took a look at the deficits that we had with some of these countries. It was disgraceful what they got away with for many, many decades. But now we know, because this decision affirms all those things that some people weren't sure about. In order to protect, and it says so, in order to protect our country, a president can actually charge more tariffs than I was charging in the past period of a year under the various tariff authorities. So we can use other of the statutes, other of the tariff authorities, which have also been confirmed and are fully allowed. Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122.
Here it comes.
Our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and I say quite simply, which I've said for a long time, make America great again. And interestingly, we've already made it great, so I don't have to use that, but I don't think we'll ever give up on MAGA. MAGA is always going to be with us. If you have a few questions, you can let us know. But just to end, so we're going forward, we will be able to take in more money, and there'll no longer be doubt, because there was always doubt. I know the people that brought the lawsuit, and you know, they're sleazebags, major sleazebags, but I know them, and they're foreign country centric. They were sending things into our country, and the people representing them knew full well, but they were sending things into our country, and they were beneficial to other countries, but very, very bad for us. And I stopped it, and we'll just keep it going. So we have we have a totally firm decision now, and I don't think the court meant it, because the court doesn't show great spirit toward our country, in my opinion. A lot of bad decisions, but there are usually ways around it. This is something we could have done, as Justice Kavanaugh said, we could have done this originally, but we're doing it now. and the numbers could be far greater than the hundreds of billions we've already taken in. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm very curious. You've
Why didn't
spoken
call
about.
you in the red?
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Justice Thomas and Alito, as you know, are the most conservative constitutional justices. Do you think that you'll get to appoint 2 more justices later this term with similar ideologies? And what type of vetting process will they go through to ensure they uphold
I don't know, but they're
the
great
Constitution?
justices. That's all I can say. And I hope they're going to be around a long time. I hope they're going to stay healthy. They're great people. They're great. And Justice Alito, too, to add to the group. These are great men.
Right.
With a great love of our country and a great understanding of the law.
Mr. President, are you going to ask Congress to take additional action on tariffs now? Have you
I don't
spoken
need to.
your
It's already been approved. I mean, I would ask Congress and probably get it. When people look at the real numbers and you look at hundreds of billions of dollars that have come into our country. Yesterday I was at a steel plant, as you know, and I went to great place, great plant, great wonderful people. And they were telling me, I said to them, you were there, a lot of the press in this room. Of course, I don't think this plane's big enough to take the press in this room, but a lot of the press right here. We were in Georgia. And I said to the owner, I made a speech at a factory. They make steel products. And I said, how are you? Nice to meet you. How's business? President, I'd love to kiss you. This is a very powerful man. I don't want to be kissed by that man, but a very powerful, strong man. He's been in the steel business for many years. His father started it. And he said, sir, I want to kiss you. I said, why? He said, because we were down to working 1 hour a week, and then you came in and imposed tariffs, and all of that foreign junk that they were dropping into our country stopped. And we're now going to double shifts, 7 days a week, and we may be very soon going to 24 hours around the clock, almost 7 days a week. He said, sir, I want to kiss you so badly. And I said, no, thank you. But you know what? He just to finalize it, he said, oh, this is a great place in Georgia. He said, all up and down the highway, same exact answer, sir. We're all going out of business. We're going to go bankrupt. We're all going out of business. And now every one of us are thriving, and we're hiring people like we haven't. He said, like I've never, and he's been in business for, I think, 45 years, like we've never hired before. That's because of tariffs. And we're going to keep it going the same way. And you're going to start to see the results in a year from now when all those factories start that are under construction right now. You see all the construction.
18 months is more like it, not a year.
Construction workers are building factories that are going to be open, including not only AI, which is big, but car plants coming in from Canada, who ripped us off for 30% of our market. Mexico ripped us off for a big portion. Over the years, they've taken our market. They've taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and
Mexico,
all over the place.
Canada.
Because nobody's standing in this position. The position I have as President of the United States had the insight, the courage, well, I don't know what it is, to charge tariffs. You can make your product outside. You can put our people out of business. You can put everybody on the unemployment rolls. But if you're going to make a car in some other country, you're going to pay a 15, 20, 30% tariff. And those things would have never happened. We wouldn't have lost our business. Same thing with, as an example, Taiwan. Taiwan came in. They stole our chip business. They make chips. For 30 years longer, they made chip. And they put our companies. Intel would be now the largest company. I saved Intel. I literally saved it at the beginning of this administration. And now all those companies in Taiwan are building factories in Arizona, Texas, and various other places because they don't want to pay tariffs. They're all pouring into the United States. But just like that great patriot said yesterday, sir, what you've done, nobody thought was possible. And Steve Moore, a highly respected economist, came into my office yesterday. He said, you've done something nobody's ever done. 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics said we would right now be in a recession. And you said, no, we're going to have a booming country. We're going to have a booming country. You were right. All 22 were wrong, and you were right. This country is booming, and it's booming because of the election on November 5th.
Yep.
And it's booming for another reason. It's booming because of tariffs. Yeah, please, go ahead.
What will you say ahead of this decision that if the Supreme Court...
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. What will you say to foreign nations who seek to renegotiate their deals? And what did you mean a moment ago when you said that the Supreme Court has been swayed by foreign interests?
Yeah.
Well, I think that foreign interests are represented by people that I believe have undue influence. They have a lot of influence over the Supreme Court, whether it's through fear or respect or friendships, I don't know. But I know some of the people that were involved on the other side, and I don't like them. I think they're real slime balls. And got to do what's right for the country. You got to do what's right for the Constitution. That's why I respect so much Justice Thomas and Alito, Kavanaugh, because they not only dissented, their dissent is so strong. When you read their dissent, you know, a lot of times you'll read a dissent and it's like, well, you don't know, it could go either way. There's no other way. The good news is, it's like Justice Kavanaugh said, very strongly said, you have other ways you can go. You don't have to go that way. You can go other way. There are numerous other ways you can go. And frankly, this should have been done by presidents many years ago. They allowed our country to be eaten alive. We lost 50% of our car business. We used to make cars. We made all the cars. And then Mexico came, Canada came, Japan and Germany. But they're all coming back now. They're all coming back at record levels. No, you please. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking. I don't talk.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to her.
Go ahead.
Fake news.
The economy is the hottest it's been in a long time. Right. January jobs report beat expectations. CPI report beat expectation. Real wages are up. What would you tell Americans who are worried that this decision will kind of throw the economy that you have projected going in the right direction at a very rapid pace off track?
Well, thank you for the question. And I will say this, we really are at a very important point. I've been waiting for this decision so long. They could have made this decision a long time ago. Not complex. They're wrong on it. It's a ridiculous decision. But they should have released this a long time ago. We waited months. And that gave uncertainty. Now we have certainty. And I think you're going to see the country get much stronger because of it. Look, we were ripped off by almost every country in the world. If you look at the surpluses, almost every country in the world that did business with us, our people were stupid. And I blame presidents for it because they're ultimately the leader. We were being ripped off by almost every single country in the world had some massive surpluses. China had hundreds of billions of dollars in surpluses with the United States. They rebuilt China. They rebuilt the army. We built China's army by allowing that to happen. I have a great relationship with President Xi, but he respects our country now. Now, what we've done, I charged China a 20% tariff as a penalty for sending fentanyl in. And that was 20 times more than they could make by selling fentanyl. And I said, you know, at some point you're going to say, like, and they have reduced it. You know, fentanyl is down by more than 30% coming into our country. Part of that is our strong border. We have a strong border now. But thank you. Thank you for your question.
Mr. President, sir, you warned once in a social media post that if the Supreme Court did this, shot down your tariffs, the U.S. would be, quote, financially defenseless. Are we financially defenseless right now?
No, because we're doing something in a different way. We're doing something in a very powerful way, and we're using things that some people thought we should have used in the first place. But it's more complicated. It's a little more complicated. The process takes a little more time, but the end result is going to get us more money, and I think it's going to be great. Yeah, please. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. So, since Liberation Day, there's about $175 billion in tariff revenue that is now in limbo. Do you have to refund $175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write an opinion, and they don't even discuss that point. We've taken in hundreds of billions.
Money is not going to be refunded.
Hundreds of billions.
Not going to be refunded.
And so I said, well, what happens to all the money that we took in? It wasn't discussed. Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that
no, because they're
keep
cowards.
the money or don't keep the money, right?
They're cowards.
I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years.
Exactly.
So they write this terrible, defective decision, totally defective.
It is. It's an incomplete decision.
It's almost like not written by smart people. And
well, that's for sure.
They don't even talk about that. Your question is very basic. That was the first question I asked also to make you feel good. They said, what about all the money that we've taken in? Sir, they don't discuss that. How crazy is that?
What you're saying is, are you saying that you don't plan to honor refunds for companies that file for them?
I just told you the answer, right? I told you the answer. It's not discussed. We'll end up being in court for the next 5 years.
Exactly. Exactly. Is she stupid?
Go ahead, Green. Green.
Green.
Mr. President, when you are talking about the relationship with countries that you have sought trade deals with, do you anticipate that they will seek to renegotiate those? What do you say to them, and do you view this as a potential undermining power for your
Well, we're
negotiations?
going straight ahead with 10% straight across the board, which was the absolute right to do. And that's taking place. That's a lot of money coming into our country. And then during that period of about 5 months.
Do you notice the room is like 65, 70% female and about 40% minorities, which don't reflect America? See how it's happened? That used to be a newsroom that didn't reflect America. It was all white men. Now white men are being pushed out. Yeah, and more women than the norm are in the room.
Mr. President, you've used the tariff revenue to pay for a host of federal policies. You claim that they will pay for them. What happens
Well,
to
like
those
the
things?
farmers. We took care of farmers. You know, the farmers were mistreated by foreign countries very badly, very, very badly. And last week I gave them $12 billion out of tariff money. We intend to, out of tariff money, because just so you understand, we have tariffs. We just have them in a different way. And now they've been confirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States. So there's no longer that question out there about tariffs. And we'll be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And countries that have treated us badly will have to pay a price for treating us badly. And countries that have been good to us will be treated very well. We just left the top person in a place called Vietnam, just left my office. Great gentleman, strong and smart. He said, you know, I think this means you're allowed to charge us more tariffs than before. And Canada said to Jameson, I might want to say it, Jameson, but Canada said, I hope you win this decision, because if you don't win, you'll actually be allowed to charge us, with a little additional work, higher tariffs. Jameson, you want to comment on that?
Yes, sir. So, to the President's point, we have a lot of tools out there. We have Section 122, which will be implemented today.
Trade representative.
Very shortly. We have Section 301 investigations, which are incredibly legally durable, where we can investigate and address unfair trading practices that have led to our huge trade deficit. And so you can look forward in the coming days and weeks to seeing all of that come out, and we're going to keep continuity in the program. We're going to keep addressing this so that the deficit can keep going down. That's the trend it has, and we can make America great again.
No.
Several of Republicans in Congress have supported this decision by the Supreme Court, and Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, has called you a wannabe king. Why wouldn't
him a low IQ?
But why wouldn't
he doesn't even know? And I watched him the other day interview. The guy doesn't even know what a tariff is.
But there's been bipartisan criticism
No, not bipartisan.
of the tariffs.
Excuse me.
There's several
A few
Republicans
people.
have said that.
Yeah, a few people.
Wouldn't you just work with Congress to come up with a plan?
I don't have to.
To push tariffs.
I have the
through?
right to do tariffs, and I've always had the right to do tariffs, and it's all been approved by Congress. So there's no reason to do it. All we're doing is we're going through a little bit more complicated process. Not complicated very much, but a little more complicated than what we had. We'll be able to take in tariffs, more tariffs. And the Congress people and the Congress
down the Canadian tariffs last week.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
been votes
you
in
know
the
why?
Senate against it.
Yeah, because we lost 2 Republicans or 3 Republicans because they're not good Republicans. What you don't say, you don't say that we got 215 votes.
You need 218 for something to pass.
Yeah, sure we do. We might have lost 3 votes, and what was the score on the Republican side? 215 to 3, right? But you don't say that. We have great unity. There's great unity in the Republican Party, and I hope everyone's going to vote Republican, because otherwise you won't have a country left, because these people have been destroying. They are destroying our country. Please.
Mr. President, the 122 tariffs, that 10%,
Yeah.
Is that going to be for 150 days, or do you want to charge that indefinitely?
We have a right to do pretty much what we want to do, but we're going to charge it starting effectively, I think it's 3 days from now. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you speak to a lot of factory workers, a lot of manufacturing workers. What does the Supreme Court ruling say? What's that message to those factory workers?
Well, I think the factory workers are happy because we're now telling them that they're going to look. The man I met with yesterday, who owned a factory, was out of business. He was out of business, and now he's employing 5 times. In fact, I walked in. He's got a brand new crane. I said, "How old is that crane?" We got it in December. He's allowed to write it off in 1 minute. The Great Big Beautiful Act gave no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. He said this great big beautiful bill, frankly, has been the best thing that's ever happened for the workers of the, much more so than for rich people. The only thing it does for rich people, it allows them to hire a lot more people. But when I saw him, and then he said, it's all up and down the line. This is a place in Georgia, all up and down. Other factories doing different, not only steel products, different. He said, every one of us was out of business. We could barely make it. Some of them were down to less than an hour a week. Think of it, 1 hour a week to make just a few little trinkets or whatever they make. Now they're going round the clock. I had it a month ago. I went to Michigan, went to Ford, and I met with Bill Ford, the head of Ford, and we were in one of the biggest plants, an original plant from the early 1900s, where, by the way, I might add this, it's not really relevant, but it's all relevant. Murders are down the lowest since 1900, around the time that he had this plant. That's 125 years. We have the lowest murder rate. Okay. And our crime is way down in the country. The factories that we're talking about, the people that we're talking about, they are so thrilled with Trump. So whether we charge IEEPA tariffs or whether we charge tariffs under a different section, that's what we're going to be doing. There's no way we can lever. This is what happened to our country. This is why we owe $38 trillion, which we'll get rid of in pretty good course. We have a very incompetent Fed chairman who likes high interest rates. For political reasons, he likes them. But we're going to have somebody very good. Interest rates should come down very substantially. I think we should pay the lowest interest rates on the planet. There should be no country, and we don't do that. We're number 38. This is just bad policy for a long period of time. But what's happened is we've made America strong again. We've made America great again. We should pay. As an example, the country of Switzerland, we were getting almost no tariffs from them. We had a $40 billion deficit. And the prime minister called me up. She said, but we are a small country, because I said we're going to raise it to 39% from nothing. That would have rendered them not very successful.
Nadine, no need to apologize for jumping in late, but do recognize that this isn't a refugee conversation. This is the president talking about tariffs. For the troll, Lava, you can piss off. You can piss off. Oh, it is not uncalled for, fit nut. You don't like it, you can leave too. You can sit here and act like a turd. I said she doesn't have to apologize. But it's rude and disruptive and unfair. And trolls are also in the chat, like Lava. Clickbait titles. He can fuck off. There's no clickbait title. The fact that he showed up here an hour and a half later whining about the clickbait, well, he's the one that's whining. This took place an hour ago. We talked about it for 40 minutes. All right, so people can piss off if they want, or they can sit here and listen to the press conference the president is giving. It's pretty obvious it's not a refugee conversation. The title was an hour and a half ago. Don't jump in the middle of a live stream and demand attention. Go to the beginning and have respect for people watching the program. That's the end of the conversation.
A group of people in D.C. maybe, I don't know what it is, because when you read it, there's no other interpretation. There is no other interpretation. But it's okay, because what has come out, and I'll say it for the third time and maybe the last time in a while, is that we've taken the uncertainty of tariffs out, because we had uncertainty. We got sued by sleazebags, I know them well, that are very outside country, China-centric, but outside country-centric. And they're going to end up not doing as well as they did before. America was becoming really, really, we're strong again. Hey, we have the strongest military. I rebuilt the military in the first term. We have the most powerful military. We make the best equipment, and even them, you know, we could do much better. We have people that get paid a lot of money to manufacture Patriot.
People can't behave themselves. I've turned off the chat. If you want to leave, that's your prerogative. I'm tired of dealing with toddlers. All right? The chat's off for now. It'll come back on at some point. Have the courtesy and respect to pay attention to a news program. The title was clearly published. You show up an hour and a half later and you want to demand attention. So now you can listen or move on.
Certainty. It's been tested, as Jameson said 1,000 times. Literally, I said hundreds of times. He said, sir, actually thousands of times, and won in all of the courts. And we're just going back to that. And the problem is that we had other presidents that weren't into trade. Maybe they weren't business oriented. Maybe they weren't smart. We had some dummies too, you know. I respectfully say we had some real dummies. So we are going to keep it going just as before, probably more so. But you're no longer going to be asked. Every time I got up, you'd ask, well, what happens if you can't charge tariffs? Now we can. And by the way, in their decision, they specifically said we can do these. We have alternatives. Yeah.
David, on the trade deals that were negotiated using IEEPA tariffs,
Yeah.
do those stand now, or are they have to be
Well,
redone?
some of them stand. Many of them stand. Some of them won't, and they'll be replaced with the other tariffs.
Mr. President, on the Supreme Court justices who ruled against this the policy, striking it down, are they still invited to your State of the Union
Yeah.
next week? And will you still speak with them?
They are invited. Barely. Barely.
Barely. Trump is
We are
entertaining.
happily invited. No. They're barely invited. Honestly, I couldn't care less if they come, okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the trade deal, which is the framework which is to be signed with India sometime soon, will that stand now? And on the decision, nothing changes?
No, nothing changes. They'll be paying tariffs, and we will not be paying tariffs. So deal with India is they pay tariffs. This is a reversal from what it used to be, as you know. India, I think Prime Minister Modi is a great gentleman, a great man, actually, but he was much smarter than the people that he was against in terms of the United States. He was ripping us off in India. So we made a deal with India. It's a fair deal now, and we are not paying tariffs to them, and they are paying tariffs. We did a little flip.
That's not really fair to India, though, is it?
So up as of now for this.
No, the India deal is on.
So much, Mr. President.
All the deals are on. We're just going to do it differently.
Mr. President. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I think there's another war that you stole and you should take the credit, which is in Syria. Secretary Rubio, after his meeting in Munich with the Syrian Foreign Minister and the Kurdish General Muslim Abdi, he said that President Trump was directly involved in efforts to stop the fighting between the Kurds and the Syrians. How will your administration make sure that this peace is sustained? And do you support the idea
Well, it's a very different topic, and so I don't want to spend a lot of time. But all I can say is that the president of Syria, who I essentially put there, is doing a phenomenal job. He's a rough guy. He's not a choir boy. A choir boy couldn't do it. But Syria is coming together, really coming together well. And thus far, he's been very good to the Kurds. Yeah.
Sir, thank you, sir. Mr. President, what's your message to the Iranian people after 2 rounds of talks with them? Do you have any message to the Iranian people?
The Iranian people in Iran or people here?
People in Iran.
They better negotiate a fair deal. You know, the people of Iran are a lot different than the leaders of Iran. And it's very, very sad situation. But 32,000 people were killed over a relatively short period of time. They were going to hang 800, 2 weeks ago, hang, some by crane. They lift them up with a tall crane, and they play them around the square. They were going to hang 837 people. And I gave them the word, if you hang one person, even one person, that you're going to be hit right then and there. I wasn't waiting 2 weeks and negotiating. And they gave up the hanging. They didn't hang 837. Supposedly, they didn't hang anybody. But no, I feel very badly for the people of Iran. They've lived in hell. Please.
Thank you. Mr. President, you mentioned multiple times
foreign influence over the Supreme Court. Do you have evidence of that? And if not, will you investigate that?
You're going to find out.
What alternatives are you going to put into place in your relationship with Europe, and also those tariffs that have been called illegal? How they're going to go impact the relationship with Russia, that you sanction
Well,
some
I want
countries?
Europe to strengthen up. Europe has gone woke. Europe is not recognizable when you go into so many places. Not all countries. You look at Hungary. You look at Poland, Czech, Slovakia.
Right. See.
Countries that have gone very much the opposite. Some really, and some others. But Europe has to be strong, and they've become soft and not recognizable. You go into some of the countries, I don't want to be specific, but I think everyone knows what I'm talking about, and they're not recognizable. They become, the environmentalists have taken over. They've got windmills destroying their fields and
Germany.
beautiful meadows and their oceans.
Hey, Mark.
and
Welcome back.
They're paying a fortune. Now, Europe has to get smart. Europe's getting killed on two things, energy and immigration. And if they don't solve both of them fast, Europe is not the same place. Yeah, please.
Justices Gorsuch and Barrett, are you surprised in particular by their decision today?
I
And
am.
do you regret nominating them?
I don't want to say whether or not I regret. I think their decision was terrible. Yeah. I think it's an embarrassment to their families. You want to know the truth.
Ooh, that's cold.
Yeah.
Specifically on that
Say it again,
$2,000
please.
tariff check.
Mr. President.
I didn't call you.
You didn't call me?
Yeah, Mr. President, to be clear, do you believe at the end of implementing these new tariff tools, the tariff rate and tariffs will ultimately be higher than they currently are?
Potentially higher. It depends, whatever we want them to be. But we want them to be fair for other countries. And, you know, we have some countries that have treated us really badly for years. And it's going to be high for them. And we have other countries that have been very good, and it's going to be very reasonable for them. Yeah.
Specifically on the tariffs question, I mean on the
didn't call you.
$2,000.
I didn't call you.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. Do
Call
you have
you.
any plans to travel to India for the Quad Summit, and how do you think your relationship with India is right now?
I think my relationship with India is fantastic. And we're doing trade with India. India pulled out of Russia. You know, India was getting its oil from Russia, right? And they pulled way back at my request because we want to settle that horrible war where 25,000 people are dying every month. And my relationship with Prime Minister Modi is, I would say, great. I also stopped a war between India and Pakistan, as you know. There were 10 planes we shot down. That war was going and probably going nuclear. And just yesterday, the Prime Minister of Pakistan said President Trump saved 35 million lives by getting them to stop. That's and I did it largely with tariffs. I said, look, you're going to fight, that's fine, but you're not going to do business with the United States, and you're going to pay a 200% tariff, each country. And they called up and they said, we have made peace. Okay? I just want to thank you all. Look, great certainty has been brought back to the economy of the United States and actually the economy of the world, because we generate so much in the world. We're the biggest in the world, and we're now the strongest by far. We were a country that was dead 1.5 years ago. Now we have the hottest country in the world. We're going to keep it that way. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, the president's done there. We're going to wrap that up. All right, he finally had his press conference. As we said, long before this court decision was ever reached, the president has other tools at his disposal, and he is likely to use them. Obviously, they've had months to prepare for this, so now they're going to use the other tools at their disposal. Simple as that. All right, again, for Nadine, no need to apologize, but when you pop into a stream and you start asking questions when we're obviously not focusing on the story that you're asking about, it's a news broadcast. I don't know why people are having difficulty with that. It says Chris Wyatt Reports. That's a news program. We do it daily. Been doing it daily for 6 years. The title is one of the topics we talk about. It isn't every topic we talk about. We talked about the refugee pause for 20 minutes when the program started. And then we talked about President Trump and the Supreme Court overruling his tariffs for another 10 to 15 minutes. Then we tried to cover the news after that. In between, I treated you to a little commentary on the semifinal between Finland and Canada. Finland squandered a 2-0 lead and lost 3-2, and Canada goes on the gold medal game. So, Nadine, I think you got caught up in the issue that people are trying to listen to news, and you're chatting about that. But more importantly, the guy named Lava decided that he was going to be an ass and write that my title was clickbait. It wasn't clickbait. At the time the broadcast was scheduled, that was the topic. That was the topic. We covered the topic. Am I supposed to sit here and say the same thing over and over and over again for the duration of a video because someone decides to show up 93 minutes? Not you, Nadine, but Lava. 93 minutes into a broadcast. Well, this is clickbait title. They're talking about this. Seriously? Grow up. No, Janine, I don't think they took that long time. The Supreme Court takes a long time. It's up to the Supreme Court what cases they review. They're under no obligation to review any case at all. They review cases based on what they think is one that addresses constitutionality. And the problem here is that I don't think they should even have taken this case up, to be quite honest. There's no constitutionality question here. Congress delegated that responsibility to do what he did to the President of the United States in 1977 when James Earl Carter was the president and the Democrats controlled Congress. It's never been challenged before. Why now? Because Trump is president. I don't think they ever should have taken this case on, in my view. I'm not a constitutional scholar, but I know what the Constitution says, and it doesn't seem to me that that's appropriate. Congress has the ability to delegate its responsibility to the executive branch, and they do it far too often. The president didn't exceed his authority. It's utter nonsense. He has the authority to impose tariffs. And the Supreme Court is arguing, well, that's a tax. Well, that is a very specific interpretation. The tariffs are not a tax because the supposition is that means that the consumer pays it, not the supplier. But the reality is that oftentimes the supplier and the producer and the transporter and the middleman, they pay the price, not the consumer. So the decision by the court, which I have not read in full, so I'll stand on correction if I get it wrong, but what's reported in the press is a flawed decision in my view. I agree with President Trump on this 100%. No news on Iran, Garrett. We're waiting on that. So. You're welcome, Nadine. Yeah, I hope you didn't take offense. I just, that other guy pissed me off. He was being rude. Doesn't reek of clickbait. No, it doesn't reek of clickbait. If you click on the video and go to the beginning, you get your answer. Now, you can accuse me of unfairly, you can accuse me of using clickbait when I put a news item in the topic like night owls and we don't get around to it for a little while. That's a fair complaint. And I can address that by doing it up front, but it really doesn't matter. Because as you see, I addressed it up front and we get people an hour and a half later coming in here. Yep. $200,000 viewers, 47% not agreeing with the Supreme Court. Yeah, that's pretty high. But yeah, Mark, that would be a fair criticism, particularly the night owls, but not for the news program. I mean, I can't put 85 news headlines in there. And if I just title Chris Wyatt Reports, then people don't find it. And they don't know what the lead topic is for the day. So it's my prerogative, and I'll do it. It's not clickbait. There's a video on my program that addresses this issue specifically. People too lazy to look for it, too lazy to find it, or YouTube hides it from, that's not on me. I took the time between the interview, which ran over, and this broadcast to go record a short. So Lava, if you're still around or if you're not a troll, let's help you out since you can't seem to find what's on here. You couldn't reply on your laptop, Vilma, because I turned the chat off. Hoppity, you have no reason to apologize. What are you apologizing for? So, what about the foot and mouth disease? Well, Petra, what about it? I talked about that as well earlier in the stream. I changed the title 3 times on this because 3 breaking stories happened. The first was about the Western Cape embarrassing John Steenhuisen, our white agriculture minister. That was the first story. I changed that because the breaking news about the flights being paused, and then Trump went with this, and I've changed it again. Yeah, exactly. A lot of clickbait out there, but this channel is not one of them. Just a troll trying to stir. Exactly. All right, so here's the video. Exactly. Hello, folks. Welcome back. Chris in Central Pennsylvania. Some disappointing news for many South African refugees who are coming to the United States. News today, I started receiving messages from a lot of South Africans freaking out. What's going on? Are flights canceled? What's going on? A fair question, and I've tried to reach out to Washington to find out what's going on. What I've been able to determine at this stage is that the U.S. government in Washington has put a temporary pause on refugee flights departing from South Africa, which means that South African refugees, beginning, I believe, on the 23rd, it looks like, are not coming. Now, anecdotally, I've received messages from some South Africans who are expected to fly in that time frame after Monday, and a few of them have said that they were told that it's until March 9th, which may very well be the case, but I have no confirmation from... I subsequently received confirmation that that is the case. It is March 9th from the U.S. government, that it is until March 9th. What I can tell you is that, yes, there is a temporary pause on South Africans coming to the United States. It doesn't appear at this point that has anything to do with the South Africans or their cases. It has to do with other geopolitical concerns. Now, first and foremost on this, if you've been paying attention to world events, and while it may seem like it's far and distant and unrelated, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is. But the United States has two carrier strike groups poised within reach of the Persian Gulf. And the Iranians have not been playing ball. Donald Trump is on the verge, potentially, as early as this weekend, according to media reports and analysis, going to launch an attack against Iran. With the U.S. government's attention focused on Iran, whether we attack them or don't attack them, this may be a plausible explanation for why these flights are being postponed. Now, that doesn't help South African refugees who are already scheduled to come over here, many of whom have already liquidated their homes or their apartments. They've sold their buckies, their cars. They have no way to get around. They have limited funds. Some of them are already staying in a hotel, expecting to fly on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. This is very unfortunate for them, but this is unfortunately also not the first time this has happened. During the shutdown, when the governments, the Democrats, held America hostage at the beginning of the fiscal year, from late September until the 14th of November, there were no flights from the 26th of September until the 17th of November. And a lot of people didn't get over here. So what I tell people is those who are in this situation, reach out to my channel. I can't promise you anything, but I can promise to try to help people. Hopefully it's not an overwhelming number of people who need help. If you have limited resources and don't have food, contact me via the email address on the account. If you need accommodation, that's harder, but it doesn't mean it's impossible for me to try to get people to help you. So reach out to me that way as well. But if you're going to reach out to me, you need to tell me how many people are in your party. You know, your family of 2, a singleton, a family of 9 kids. I need to know. Again, this is a temporary pause, and that's what we know about it at the moment. Hopefully this will be short-lived. It'll be over soon. But I don't have any further information, but I can confirm it is genuine, it is happening, and it just is a reality. And rather than moan about it and cry about it, let's try to find a path forward. Boy, my complaint, right? Cheers. Wow. I mean, so I spend 30 seconds talking about refugees and suddenly it's a refugee program. It's not, Truth Seeker. I just spent 2 hours talking about the news, not refugees. Dude, seriously. Man, you all really need to check this stuff at the door. Really need to check this stuff at the door. I didn't get through all my news because of the Trump press conference. I'm going to wrap it up here because I've had my fill. I've also got a Zoom session in 15 minutes, so... Please hit the like button if you don't mind, folks. I appreciate that. 487 likes, despite the fact that we've had 5,000 people tune in, only 487 likes. Yeah, I should put a picture of this shocking-looking face in the video, then it could possibly be more clickbait. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, apparently you can't do anything. Exactly, Pat. Apparently I can't do anything right. Some people just want to never happy, so... Ja, was kann man dagegen sagen? Ich habe gar nichts zu sagen. Also es gibt manche Leute, die sind niemals zufrieden. Niemals. Und ja, es ist egal, was ich hier zu Hause mache, im Studio. Ja, ist egal. Meine Sendung ist, ja, klar, meine Sendung. Ich tue, was ich will. Ja. Unterhaltung und Konversation und so weiter, das ist ja mein Entschieden. Keine andere. Ich bin der Inhaber von dieser Transmission, dieser Sendung. Ja. I don't know, Snippets. It comes up a lot. It comes up a lot. People just behave silly. So, all right, you guys take care. Have a good night. Have a good night. Cheers. We'll see you guys later. Ronaldo's coming out at the bottom of the hour if you want to go watch Ronaldo. I just saw that, so I haven't had a chance to redirect you. So please go check out Ronaldo, okay? Old school, low-tech attack U.S. fleet. That's a possibility. Le français, c'est pat-pat. Je peux parler aussi en français. C'est très facile pour moi parce que j'apprends la langue de français depuis plus de 25 ans. Et on peut faire la conversation dans le français. Le problème, c'est avec les gens qui toujours sont pour le même. Ils sont là pour moi. Toutes les choses, c'est à moi. Et le sujet, c'est moi. Je suis très important, plus important que les autres gens. Pas tout le monde. C'est moi. Pas les autres gens. Moi. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. It's the people themselves first. All right. There's a link to Ronaldo if you guys want to go check it out. Sally says, don't understand. All right. Thank you guys for putting the link up to Ronaldo. See you guys later. Okay. You're welcome, Pats. Sorry, Fleshin. I don't know the Welsh. That's a tough one. Celtic languages are hard. They are hard. I'll admit that. All right, guys. Be well. We've got tonight. We'll have the Night Owls, but it'll probably be a little bit shorter because I have to be up at 6 o'clock to do an interview with Biz News, and then at 7 o'clock I've got rugby with the Lions. At 9 o'clock I got rugby with Six Nations. 11 o'clock I got rugby with Six Nations. So it's going to be a long evening. You guys take care. Thanks for being here. Thanks. Can we get up to 500 likes yet? Yeah, we did. Thank you so much for that. You all be well. Cheers.